That's nice, bro. The outfit. Have a black shirt, something like that.
Peace and blessings, family. This is brother Shareef and Ptah Shakur with the hour power. We have a powerful guest this week. We'll open up with our universal prayer and some housekeeping with Ptah, and we'll get right into this interview. In the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks, mercy, and goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were the right width, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another seven oceans died to supply, the writing would not be enough to explain the glory of God, gracious, merciful. We praise no other in our time of need, and we confide in no other in our time of need. Praise no other in our fortune. And even if I live to be 1,000, it will not be enough to thank God for many blessed gifts. We thank God for the medicine, oracle scripture writings. It came on the continent of Africa 1,000 years before any organized religion. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospels, Muhammad in the Quran. We can read every word of peace. To our Christian family, praise the Lord. To our Muslim family, assalamu alaikum. To our Hebrew Israelite and our Jewish family, shalom. To our black conscious family, Ptah. To our Native American family, Halito. And to our people in the streets, good to it all means peace. So once again, this is brother Shareef and Ptah Shakur with the hour of power. We'll give it a few seconds here for Ptah to come on. Do you want us to continue on, brother, or?
Yeah, I just want to hop on real quick. Grand Rising, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We did have a little echo there. I did hopefully got rid of that. So somebody please give us a little sound check. Call-in number 717-846-5067. You are in for the most powerful hour. This is the Hour of Power broadcast going out live to the White Rose Community Channel 16 and 18, as well as going out over Facebook as well. The Hour of Power broadcast is a community program. We want to hear from you. We have differing views and visions. However, we believe as far as for us to reach unity, we have to hear those particular voices. So if you have a particular business that you would like to bring out to the community or any type of entrepreneurial opportunity, as well as our youth, we want to hear from our youth. We believe our youth are the most powerful beings in creation that reincarnated at this particular time. They need our vision, our support, and our light. So we want to hear positive stories for your youth coming on this particular program. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it to Brother Shareef. So we're going to get the caption on. So if you want to call in, you can do 717-846-5067, excuse me, and we will be monitoring the Facebook comments as well, so we can dialogue with you back and forth and get into the brain of this wonderful man that we have seated here to my left. So I'll just kick it to you, Shareef.
Yes, sir. It's you're on, my brother. Introduce yourself.
So I'm Bradley Smith Sr. I like to be known as Brother Baruch. That's the name I chose for the Hebrew. I consider myself a Hebrew Israelite. But I'm Bradley Smith, and you can find me on Facebook. I live in York. I stay at the Broad Park Manor High Rise. I've been in York since about 2000. I'm a 60-year-old man. I have multiple sclerosis. I'm disabled with multiple sclerosis. I have a concern that I would like to present, and hopefully the city will acknowledge it. In my time in York, I use a motorized wheelchair to get around town. Today I just have my cane, but I think the good brother picked me up due to the rain. But I used to get around town in my motorized wheelchair, and although it's not winter right now, my concern is for when it snows, how the city deals with concerns for people that are disabled with wheelchairs. So I've encountered where the corners that we approach in the city have off ramps, and they're pretty much for wheelchairs and disabled people. So when they plow the streets, they cover up these ramps with their snow, making it difficult for us people who are in wheelchairs to get around. I've found myself having to go in the street, to ride in the street, which is not too safe when it's snow out. And even if I can get on a sidewalk to come off the sidewalk, these sections, these off ramps are covered with snow. I myself have gotten stuck on one of these before trying to get up on a sidewalk. So I think it's an issue where the city should make some sort of, I don't know, consideration, that's the word I want, for us people who are wheelchair users. I don't know who to talk to about that. You know, it's kind of an issue of stores that should have ramps for us to get into. Not all stores have those, making it more accessible for disabled people. So this is a concern as far as the snow and the sidewalks. I think that's an issue that should be addressed with the city. Other than that, I don't know what to say about that issue, right?
That is definitely something that should be addressed at city council.
City council.
City council meetings. I believe they're like the first Tuesday of every month, but they're in what you call recess right now for the summer. So I think it's just normally they meet twice a month, because I've been to quite a few meetings.
I've never been to one.
Yes, I encourage people who are concerned about the city and wants to know what's going on with the city, they should attend city council meetings, but they're in recess right now.
Where do they hold these?
Right downtown at the city government building, across the street from McDonald's.
Okay, I
Right
know what
there
you're
at the
talking
city
about.
government building.
I know what you're talking about.
And you enter around back where the bank drive-through is. But they're in recess right now for the summer, because they normally meet twice a month, for the first and the third Tuesday of each month. But they're in recess right now, so I think it's just the first. But that's where that should be addressed, and I can only imagine what the street conditions are for someone who's in a wheelchair like yourself. It's rough in a car, more or less, wheelchair. But that's definitely something that should be addressed at city council, and I can make sure you make it there. I'll find out when one is in July. I'm pretty sure it's the first Tuesday. But we can,
Okay, that'd be great.
but that's where that should be, addressed. And that's actually one of the 7, people don't think so, but it's actually one of the 7 or 8 areas that a mayor should address is a snow removal. That's one of the main things. It isn't getting on TV. It's snow removal, emergency, when people call for emergency, those are some of the main things, because I ran for mayor, so I know that's some of the main things a mayor should address, but the first place to go would be city council.
Cool.
And I'll definitely make sure you get there and no one can explain it like you. So we'll definitely get that addressed. God will.
Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'll be glad to attend that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You had some other issues that you wanted to address as far, I know you have MS, but you have some other ailments that you believe is unjust, how that came to be. Did you want to explain that?
Sure.
Make sure you speak up.
Okay, so right now I'm dealing with damage to my upper extremity here. I have constant numbness and tingling in my arm, a couple of bulging discs, which came from an incident that I had with York City Police and our current police chief. Should I say names?
No.
Okay, the current police chief, Michael Muldrow. This was before he became police chief, where he was just York High school security.
Okay.
I used to live across the catty corner from York High on Pershing, where Tweet lives.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I used to live above her. But I lived there for like 7 years, and I used to go to the soup kitchen every day to eat, faithfully. But I always walked through York High's parking lot, my alma mater, right?
Talking about the back
The
part,
back
which
side.
is actually the front entrance now.
Right, where the parking lot is.
Mhm,
Yeah, on
So
Princess
cut
Street.
through there.
I would cut through that parking lot. Sometimes I walk around the car, sometimes I walk through. But this one particular day, I was walking with my cane to go to the soup kitchen, which I did every day. So I don't know if, for those of you that know me and have seen me walk, I don't walk too steady. I stagger, and sometimes I stumble. It was just why I use a wheelchair most of the time when I'm out. But this particular day, I walked through the parking lot, and I was off the parking lot on Beaver Street across from the school, walking towards College Avenue alongside St. Pat's Church. I am made aware that someone's trying to get my attention from behind me. And it's Michael Muldrow, which I didn't know his name at that time. I didn't know him. It was my first time encountering him. I'm thinking, now this was back when I used to smoke cigarettes, and I'm thinking this, and I only said that because I was thinking that it was someone that wanted a cigarette or a lighter, just something minor. So when I turned around, he walks up on me and asks me, did I walk through York High's parking lot? And I said, yes. He asked me, did I walk through the cars? I said, yes. So he says, well, did you look in cars? I was like, shocked at the questions, but I said no, because I did not look in cars. So he asked me for my ID. And I said, no, because I didn't do what you're saying I did. Like, I didn't commit a crime. Why do you want my ID? I said, who are you? So he says, well, you got to understand my position. He says to me that he's York High school security. And he got a report that I was looking in cars. And I said, well, understand my position, which is I have a disability. I don't walk right. At the time I had a medical alert bracelet on, I actually let him know that I have multiple sclerosis. But that didn't seem to matter to him. He once again asked me for my ID, and I said, no, I'm not giving you my ID. And I turned and started walking up Beaver Street towards College Avenue. So he follows me. And I said, why are you following me? I feel like you're stalking me. He says, well, I'm going to have you arrested. I said, for what? He says, trespassing. So there's no signs in that parking lot that say no trespassing. I was never told that I am not allowed on that property. You have to be told that you can't trespass. And when you show up, then you are trespassing.
Yeah.
This never happened. So I said, well, do what you got to do, bro. And I turned around and started walking again. So he follows me up Beaver Street, crosses College Avenue with me, and he could clearly see that I don't walk well. So by the time we got on College Avenue by Penn Park, we're heading left now, going towards George Street. A single cop shows up. And
So you're in front of St. Pat's by this time.
we're past St. Pat's. At the time he engaged me, I'm in front of St. Pat's. He followed me up Beaver. We're now across, he came up off school property. He's now across the street with me. The side that St. Pat's is on. He followed me up Beaver and crossed the street, crossed College Avenue with me. So now we're on College Avenue walking left, right? So now I want to make known that there's a camera that overlooks the parking lot where the offense supposedly took place. And there's also a camera on the corner of College and Beaver on the school. That's going to come up later in what I'm telling you. So when we get when the single cop shows up, we're on College Avenue, across the street. This Muldrow Act says to this police officer, he tells him the situation, and the police officer asks me for my ID, and I again refused because I felt like I didn't do anything. Well, I knew I didn't. So they're trying to go in my pockets, like physically reach in my pocket, and I'm like, I have this cane in my hand, and I'm, get off, you can't just go in my pockets kind of thing, right? So Mike Muldrow says, get him down on the ground so we can handcuff him. So now they're struggling with me, and I'm trying to stay upright. Now we're across, what's that, Linden? We're across Linden now, and we're at that first house. So while we're struggling, I'm struggling to stay upright. My cane falls out of my hand, and Muldrow stands on my cane. I wrap my hand around the porch banister to keep myself upright. Excuse me. To keep myself upright, and while Muldrow's standing on my cane. So while this is happening, the police officer that showed up, the single cop, wraps his left hand around my waist and grabs my right arm with his right arm, and he's yanking at me, pulling me, trying to get me off this porch while I'm holding on to it. And this is pulling at my shoulder and my spine and all that. So to this day, I still have problems with this. I'm doing physical therapy to this day. I'm getting acupuncture. I've had several x-rays and things of that nature. But while I'm holding on to this banister, 2 cop cars roll up, and a cop gets out the car and walks up on me, wraps his hands around the back of my neck, pulls my head down and knees me in the gut, and it drops me to the ground. Now, mind you, I said I have multiple sclerosis, which I deal with anxiety, especially during contentious moments, confrontation and things of that nature, whether it's verbal or physical. I get real shaky and nervous, like. So why they have me on the ground is a cop on my back with his knee in my back, and another cop's pressing my head down to the ground with his thumb in a pressure point in my neck. And I'm like, why why do you have your thumb in my neck like this? You have me on the ground. I'm handcuffed. I told him I was disabled. You don't have to have your thumb in my neck like this. Please remove it. So he removed it, and they told me to get up, but I couldn't because I'm spaghetti now. So they had to lift me up and hold me up. They put me in the back of their cruiser and took me down to King Street precinct, right? And they literally had to carry me in there because I couldn't walk. And they held me up the whole time that they had me in there until they sat me in a chair. But while we're in there, while they're holding me up, Muldrow is standing right here in my face, grilling me. Like, looked at me like, so I'm asking, why?
So he came from the school district, wherever, and now you're at King Street.
We're at the King Street precinct, and he
Gotcha.
came along, and
Okay.
he's in there with us, and he's grilling me, and I'm like, why do you have to be standing right here in my face, grilling me like this? You got what you wanted. I'm detained, Now see, when things like this happen, I get what is called brain fog. I can't think clearly. So I don't know really what to say, or like my memories weren't coming. Like I was a military police officer.
Yes, sir.
When I was in the Army. I was a welder and a military police officer. I have no criminal record. I served 9 years in the Army, and so none of my police memory was coming back. Like they literally physically detained me unlawfully, never read me my rights or nothing because I didn't commit a crime.
Yes, sir.
Right? They invaded my person. They did the whole 9, right? They had no concern for my disability. So I was in the precinct for about 15, 20 minutes. They wrote me a citation. On the citation, it said that I was combative. I tried to flee. I couldn't flee if I wanted to, right? I guess the swatting of the hands was the combative part.
Assault,
Yeah. I resisted arrest. I shouldn't have been under arrest. And refused to give my ID. That's the only true part, is that I refused to give my ID. But anyway, they wrote that, sent me away. Someone came to pick me up. So I got a lawyer who's no longer with us, this guy named Clarence Allen. I don't know what the term is when they set a court date and then it's postponed for a later date.
Okay. That's it. Just postpone.
So we were supposed to have this preliminary hearing, I think they call it, and they postponed it to April the 8th because Muldrow was on vacation, which I didn't understand. But anyway, we ended up in court, and so Muldrow showed up, and the single cop, not the one that needed me, but the first one that showed up. So it's me, my lawyer Clarence Allen, my mom, her pastor, and we were in what's his name, Judge Haskell's office. I heard he's retired now, but anyway, we were in his office. So in this questioning from the judge, he asked the cop that showed up, did you examine the area where Mr. Smith was supposed to have committed this crime? And he said yes. He said, did you find any evidence of Mr. Smith having touched any vehicles? Did you find any fingerprints? And he said no, because there were none.
Wow.
Right? So when it's Muldrow's turn, the major thing that happened as far as that is the judge asked Muldrow, how far away were you from Mr. Smith during this whole altercation? And he said 15 to 20 feet. He was a lot closer to have put his hands on me, right?
Okay.
So when he said that, I was like, that's a lie. And everybody in the courtroom hushed me. My lawyer nudged me, hushed me. My mom sitting to the left of me, hushed me. Judge Haskell hushed me. So I'm hushed. Like I can't stand up for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So they brought a laptop with them when they came. So on this laptop, they had video footage of the encounter.
Okay.
This is where, when I mentioned about the cameras, there were two cameras, one overlooking the parking lot and one at the corner of College and Beaver, which caught the incident from Beaver Street and College Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't bring any footage of the parking lot where I was supposed to have committed offense. And they brought the person who ran the cameras. Some young lady, I don't remember her name, I don't know it, but she testified that I was combative.
Did you have an interaction with her at the time that you were aware
No.
of?
Yeah,
Okay.
nope.
Was it on tape that you were combative?
Well, they didn't present it, did they?
They showed the interaction where I smacked hand.
In the parking lot?
No, this was after we were off school
Gotcha.
property up on College Avenue.
Yeah, man.
When they tried to go in my pockets.
Right.
But I didn't swing on nobody,
I got you.
right? I guess me trying to keep their hands out of my pocket was combative. So, I couldn't even say nothing because, I was hushed. Judge told me if I said anything else, I'd be held in contempt of court. So I was just at the mercy, right? So we got out of court, and I addressed my mom and the lawyer, telling them I was disappointed that you guys didn't speak up for me or stand up for me. Now here's this really bad part. That day was a terrible day for me. April the 8th of 2010. When I got home that day, there was a message on my answer machine that my youngest daughter had died. So whenever I remember her death, I remember this incident. Whenever I remember this incident, I remember her death because they were the same day. Well, the court hearing was the same day.
Yes, sir. Sorry to hear that.
So I felt like they bent me over in court and just read me. Pardon my language, but, that's what I felt like. I felt so disrespected, like no criminal record, 9-year Army veteran, disabled, none of that stuff mattered. I literally don't have a criminal record.
What was the final
So
determination?
the final determination was a pat on the wrist for the offenders, for Mark Muldrow and his partner or whatever he was, the police officer, and the judge threw out my citation. And they sent me on my way. No justice whatsoever. I felt so I was angry for months after that.
And all of this is documented in court documents.
Yes, it should be. I think I still have my citation. It's rather faded, but I still have it. So, now I see Muldrow sometimes jogging, and when I see him, I feel angry. And this has been, 2010, so that is a long time ago. But the pain that I'm suffering is still there. Like, I'm still going to the doctors because of this. It wasn't an immediate injury, like it caused me long-term injury. Like, I didn't feel it immediately, this thing I got going on, right? Matter of fact, I went to the doctor right after they did that to me. I still had the bruise on my face from when the cop was pressing my head down to the ground. And, I had gotten x-rays and things. They say there's no damage to my bones when I get skeletal x-rays, but there's something going on where it's so painful. I don't sleep well at night. Like I haven't been sleeping well at night for years now because of this. Like right now, my hand feels mad tingly. All my fingers just really numb, right? Numbness in my joint and up under my underarm, all the way up to my neck. And this is like every day that I suffer with this. Sometimes I can't even hold things with my hand because it just feels like I'm not holding anything. There were other incidences other than this that I've had where I've had bad encounters with the police in this town.
Do you think it was from the result of that or something separate?
Separate. I believe it was separate. As a matter of fact, about 2 weeks before that happened to me, a cop stops me when I was walking, pulls up alongside me and asked me to take my hood down. It was freezing cold outside. And I asked him why. And he said, "You look like somebody we're looking for." So I said, "Okay, well, if I look like somebody or you determine I look like this person, why do I have to take my hood down?" He said, "Because I asked you to." I said, "Well, it's cold out here." I said, people, and I said something smart. I said, "People say I look like DMX, but they don't go around asking me for my autograph." I said that. He said, "Oh, you a smart ass." Sorry, I'm not okay. I said, "So you a smart?" He said, "You're a smart ass." I said, "No, but I feel like I'm being harassed. I'm profiled or something." So I gave him my ID. He ran what they call the bullet thing. I have no record. So he gave it back to me and sent me on my way. Another time a cop did that to me, stopped me. I was walking with my cane and I had a cup of McDonald's tea in my hand. I'm on my way home. He stops me and asks me for my ID. And I was like, "Why?" He said, "You look like somebody we're looking for." They always say that. He said, "We're looking for a guy with a cane and a cast on his leg." So I thought, okay, the cane, I get it. But I pulled both my pants legs up and tapped on my shins and showed him I did not have a cast on my leg. "Can I go?" "I asked you for your ID." So I had to give him my ID. Ran his bullet, sent me on my way. Because I don't have a criminal record. But once I proved that I was not the person, he still insisted that I give him my ID. Not too long ago, not too long ago, but about a year and a half ago, I had a problem with a guy that was living in the building I lived in who threatened to smack the daylights out of me walked up on me, put his finger on my face, and threatened to smack the daylights out of me. Now, this got caught on camera in the building. So the police were called, and the police officer that showed up gaslighted everything I said. It was all about, it stemmed over smoking cigarettes in my presence. Not that you can't smoke, but like in front of our buildings, there are signs that say smoking should be 20 feet away from the building. So I was out front of my building, and this guy was smoking, and I asked if he could just move down a little bit, and he got upset with me about it, right? I had drew him a picture and charged him $20 for the picture. Well, I finished the picture, gave it to him before this incident, and when the incident occurred, like, he had only given me $5 for the picture. I said, $5 is good, just pay me the rest when you get it. I was kind about it. But when the incident occurred, he wanted his $5 back. I'm like, I'm not giving you $5 because I finished your picture. As a matter of fact, you owe me 15. But because I wouldn't give him his $5, he felt he had the right to put his finger in my face and told me he's gonna smack the daylights out of me because I told him I was gonna give him his $5. Well, when the police officer showed up, I suggested that he go look at the camera, and he wouldn't do it. He said, well, you keep asking people to, demanding that people don't smoke around you, somebody's gonna knock you upside your head. I'm like, what? Hey, aren't you supposed to be on my side? Like, I'm the one that got threatened. So, like, I just, the police in this town, I don't have any like for them. There's one that I do like. His name is Officer Hooper. Very nice guy. It's just crazy, man.
Well, one thing, and I just want to jump in. Thank you for sharing. Everyone who is listening, this is all coming on White Rose Community Channel 16 as well as through Facebook as well. I just wanted to add to that particular conversation. I know my time as a youth education director, I hear the discord between community members and law enforcement. Mm-hmm. So we had a program, it's called the Shareef program, where Sheriff Wes Williams would come out and play basketball with the children. I mean, and then we spend like for maybe half hour or so having what we call safe talk, where the young people are able to, express in different struggles they go through in day-to-day life, as well as the police officers would come in. We have different sheriffs would come in and share their particular expressions, kind of build that discourse within the community. So you understand, hey, these are real people, and in the same tone, they'll know, like, these real young kids, they really have dreams and aspirations. So I think we need more of that. I hear so many stories, particularly here in York, about the police officers and their tact or lack of tact with dealing with different individuals. So that's the purpose of this program, is kind of seek solutions to different problems. So we appreciate you sharing and highlighting the different things that took place with you. So that's really what we kind of want to move into, is this solution for everybody who's listening at home. If you want to kind of just drop a comment there on Facebook, or go ahead and give a call in to 717-846-5067. I know we normally have the words on the screen, however, we're having some technical difficulty with that, but you can feel free to call in and join the conversation.
And we're certainly not picking on our police commissioner, Michael Muldrow. The brother's just telling his experience with something that you say is documented, has everyone's name, and that's his experience. So that's what we do on here on Our Power. We give everyone a voice, no matter who it's, whose name might be mentioned. We go off of people's experiences and what's documented. So if that's the brother's experience, that's what it is. So we're not picking on nobody.
No personalism here. We already noticed that whole good old boy network and personalism and all that. We want to eradicate all that.
We've already, caught some heat for some names being dropped, things much further back than 2010. Oh, yeah. And we've already caught heat about that, but it's documented and it's true. So it is what it is. Going forward with you feel as though you've been targeted by York City Police. You said some other incidents.
I can't definitively say that they're targeting me, right?
You just had several incidents.
Incidences where they're not being fair. They're not serving like they should.
Yes, sir.
I think
and real quick, I think with you having a visible disability, you should be shown, some respect unless you got a bomb or something. Which you haven't, So I don't understand that part.
That's what's got me so rubbed wrong. I clearly have. You could see that I. Just sitting here, you see me on the camera. You can't tell I have a disability, but if you see me walking, or if you know me, you know that I'm disabled. I just think that there should be some sort of counseling to these police officers, or part of their training, to teach them how to deal with certain situations, like have a little more discernment how they deal with the public. Sympathy. That'll work. That'll work.
And that's funny because I actually just went on and DuckDuckGo. I was gonna say Google, but we don't do Google over here. DuckDuckGo. We're not sponsored by them. In the state of Pennsylvania, can you refuse to show your ID? So the answer that came back, I don't know if this is ChatGPT, AI, whatever. But it said refusing to provide your name or ID in Pennsylvania typically won't result in arrest unless police have another legal reason to detain you. So that's one thing that I think and I put that on the little comment below. We need to have classes. I know at one time there's a Letitia Chavez Freed had a free class there at the Crispus Attucks and kind of explained when police come upon you, what your rights are. Because technically, if police officers get in front of you and just keep you from your forward motion,
That's detaining.
that's considered to be putting it under arrest. People think that just because cuffs are involved, then it's arrest. But if someone stops you from your particular motion, you are within your rights to ask, "Am I under arrest?" That's the next question. If the question is no, then you don't have to. Anybody who's on there disagree or agree with me, please put a comment down there on the line and let me know if I'm off.
Now, I also know that to be placed under arrest, they have to have reasonable suspicion, for one, for detaining you. Now, I'm remembering my military experience now, and this applies to civilian police officers as well, but they have to have reasonable suspicion to detain you, and if they detain you or arrest you, they have to have plausible cause you committed a crime. Committing a crime is causing damage to someone's property or person. That's a crime.
Yes, sir.
Everything else, like traffic, they're just violations of ordinances, laws, like traffic violations and things like that. But they're not crimes, right?
Yes, sir.
To place you under arrest, you had to did cause damage to a person or property, which neither I did. But they placed me under arrest. They literally detained me, forcibly, mind you. And that what you mentioned about the classes, that's what I'm talking about. When I said council, but classes, they need to implement
law officials, individuals that are knowledgeable about the law.
Right.
Who did we have on the program before? Was it Buddy Gould? I think he had something. I'm trying to think. He actually wrote up a book. And Buddy Gould, if you actually listen to this, please go ahead and chime in. I believe he came up with a book, like some different type of terminologies and things. I don't know if it relates to what we're talking about here, but that's something that just popped into my mind. Buddy Gould. Yeah. Yeah, he has. He had actually did time. He was on a program. He did time in penitentiary for a number of years. He was one of the greatest boxers that didn't get a chance to flourish in that particular endeavor because he was locked up. He is now reclaimed himself and actually is doing wonderful works in the community, offering boxing classes. So.
And a sister in Harrisburg, she's one of the top criminal defense attorneys in this area, Latasha Williams. She's waiting to come on the show, so she can talk about criminal defense or our rights. She's been on the show before. She dropped some heavy, information about, criminal defense and defending yourself and knowing your rights. So I just brought me to mind. I need to get with her to get her scheduled. So
Also, I think that like during the time that happened to me, right? Like I said, there's this brain fog thing that happens when I'm faced with strife and anxiety. But teaching people their rights, I think that should be something that could be implemented, like give some sort of class or something, a community class to teach young folks and older people too their rights, because a lot of people don't know their rights when it comes to situations like these.
Yes, sir.
They don't know their rights. They don't know that you can't be unlawfully detained and things of that nature. They don't know that sometimes police overstep their bounds.
Yes, sir.
Right? These are things that I think should be addressed to people or given to people.
Particularly our youth as well. I can only imagine. I hear some rumblings. Youth, they have this mentality that they don't want to snitch, or some things I don't hear from the youth. But I can only imagine. But I know back when we had young people riding the motorcycles everywhere. Man, I was hearing a whole bunch of stories because they was really frustrating some of the police officers. But there's definitely times where police need certain classes to make sure that they don't step over that line and become excessive. So.
Yeah,
we need that ASAP.
what other incidents have of relevance that has happened to you recently that you think people should know about?
Recently?
I don't want you to pick out the sky.
No. I got banned from McDonald's and the soup kitchen for speaking up for myself, and the people didn't like what I was saying, and they called the cops on me, and I got banned.
What's that about?
So the one at McDonald's, I'm literally not allowed to go to McDonald's anymore. I used to go to McDonald's every day, have coffee, sit there and read my Bible, right? But one particular day, I pulled up to McDonald's in my chair, and I go to open the door, but there's a guy sitting on the railing right at the door, and he blew all this cigarette smoke in my face right when I was trying to go to McDonald's. So I say to him, it'd be nice if you just go across the parking lot and smoke instead of right here at the door. And he told me to mind my business. So I said, well, this is my business because I'm trying to get in the store, and you literally blew your smoke in my face. So he tells me to shut the F up. I should mind my effing business. And I said, well, first of all, you're not going to be just talking to me any old kind of way. I asked you politely. So then he threatens to throw a hot cup of coffee on me. Here's where I lose my kindness and my respect at that time, right? Trying to be nice. So I said, if you throw that cup of coffee on me, I'm going to get up and hurt you, right? So he's walking up on me with this cup of coffee. So I stood myself up. People that, they don't know I have this condition. Like, I can stand up, but I just have to deal with the imbalances and all that, right? But he's backing up, and he dropped his bag, so I kicked it with my foot. Now, a young lady in McDonald's, cashier, I guess sees this going on out the window and comes out and starts addressing me. Now, this young lady's younger than my kids, and she tells me to go in McDonald's. I'm like, first of all, you don't tell me what to do. So this man just threatened to throw coffee on me, and I'm defending myself. I'm not just going to let him throw coffee on me. She gets right here and tells me, I said go in the store. I said, hold up, You don't tell me what to do. I said, I'm old enough to be your dad. Why aren't you addressing the man I just told you threatened to throw coffee on me? Said nothing to him. So she's still in my face. So in my anger, I told her to get the F out of my face. Now she's, oh, you don't talk to me like that. And she goes to McDonald's and calls the police on me. So when the police show up, she comes out and tells them that I kicked this guy, which I didn't. So I said, go look at the cameras. So one police officer goes in, female, to look at the cameras, and the other cop is standing up over me. The guy that threatened to throw coffee on me is standing at the end of the park line. They're not even addressing him.
You actually kicked his bag.
I kicked his bag, right? But they're not even addressing him. He's not even part of the equation now. So they literally banned me from McDonald's.
Still to this day, I never heard of it.
Well, this,
like that.
yeah, to this day, I not allowed in McDonald's. The soup kitchen, you asked about that. I went in the soup kitchen one day and there was a foul odor in the soup kitchen, like body odor, like it really stunk. Now, when I went in, I said to myself, it smells foul in here. I didn't go up to anybody and say it. I said it out loud to myself. Someone heard me say it and started addressing me about it. And we had words. The words turned into this yelling. I'm like, I was talking to you, mind your business kind of thing, right? The lady that ran the soup kitchen heard me have choice words. See, I'm not a fighter. I don't just get up and fight people or nothing like that, right? So my words are my defense, especially in my condition. My words are my defense. I use my mind. So the lady didn't like what I was saying. I can be really austere with people when they get me upset, right? So the woman that ran the soup kitchen told me I had to leave. And I said, well, if you're going to make me leave, make her leave too. So because I wouldn't leave, she called the cops on me. And the argument between the person I was arguing with had been over. About 10 minutes went by, 15 minutes before the cops showed up. So 2 police officers show up, and they're standing in front of me while I'm in the soup kitchen. I'm in line, and they're telling me I have to leave, and one of them grabs the joystick on my... I'm arguing with them about not addressing the other person too, right? One cop grabs the joystick of my chair and tries to move it. And I'm like, you can't just touch my joystick. What if you move my chair and damage it? Run me up against a wall or something. So he gets behind me and grabs the joystick and pulls it backwards and runs himself up against the wall. So now, we ended up in court for this too. They told the judge that I tried to run him over. But you did that yourself. So they pushed my head down, like pushed me down like that in my chair and handcuffed me in my chair and wheelchaired me out. I actually recorded my encounter with them once they had wheelchaired me out. I still have it on my phone. They wrote me a citation and all that. I had to pay $117. But no one addressed the woman that started the confrontation with me. It was just me. The police have, it's like they have no sympathy for people in wheelchairs. Specifically me. I can't say that for all people that they encounter in wheelchairs. They used to have a jump out squad that ran through this town. You remember them? I was traveling one day, it was nighttime. I used to have a whole lot of lights on my chair so I could be seen because I got hit by a car once in my wheelchair. The jump out squad turned the corner right in front of me as I was about to cross the alley. And asked me for my ID, and I was like, well, I'm just on my way home. I didn't do anything. So they say, I said, why are you in address? What did I do? He said, because we noticed you. I said, well, yeah, I got all these lights on my chair. That's why I put them on there so people would notice. So they When I said that, all four of them jumped out the vehicle, like surrounded me. It was so intimidating, bro. And because the jump out
Was this
boys,
the police again?
they were those jump out boys, the police.
What they call them, like the red
The
shirts?
red shirts, it was them. Yes. Yeah, they did that to me.
I've heard so many things about them. Luckily, I haven't had no.
Do you know
bad
where the
findings.
laundromat is right there on Princess Street?
Yeah, they were heavy
that.
there.
It was that little alley right behind the laundromat. I was crossing that alley on Princess on my way home. And as soon as I got to the alley, they came and turned and stopped right there. If I had kept going, they would have hit me. But I stopped because I seen them turn into the alley. Come on, they noticed me. They said that they were looking, see, here again, they're looking for a drug dealer in a wheelchair. How convenient these things that they say. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't sell drugs, I never sold drugs. I'm not that guy. I just sometimes get the short end of the stick with these things, and I don't know why.
I'm glad I never had a run-in with any of them. Like you said, I'm not involved in any of those things. So luckily, I never had a run-in with them. But you know, people have told me about some unlawful detainment or being approached by them. So
Right. The red shirts?
yes.
That was the only time I had an encounter with them. You know, sometimes when you are literally active in bad activity, you know, we have brothers that are, you know, drug dealers and things like that, hanging out on the block and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm not one of those people. When the police come around, sometimes brothers scatter like roaches. I don't feel I should scatter. I'm not one of those people. So for them to actually target me, I don't get that. Yeah, that's confounding to me. I'm not known about town for being a drug dealer. You know, I'm not known about town for being a troublemaker. You know, a criminal, for that matter. So it just blows my mind when these things happen.
Well, we're very sorry that you have had these incidents, and we hope that moving forward that you are safe and treated with the respect that you are deserved, especially with you being in the military and with your condition. And we're not asking for any special treatment. We're just asking for you to be treated
Fairly.
fairly.
Yes.
You know. And again, the incident that you explained in detail, it's documented and it's on court records. So again, we weren't picking on anyone. You were just explaining what happened, which has had a significant amount of trauma to you currently to this day. So it definitely needs to be talked about. So that's what we do. So we're going to go. Our brother Ptah, he's going to go live in a couple minutes. So we're going to allow him to get ready, so we can switch over and listen in and hear what he has to share, especially our youth. But it's been wonderful bringing you on. You are welcome, because you got some more things to share. You're welcome to come back on on the set and share some things, especially if it's something related to our youth, our community, anything that can help our community moving forward.
Well, I appreciate y'all having me on. I was real nervous about coming on and talking about any of this. Because these are things that I keep bottled up. I don't get to talk to people about this. So this was kind of
I hope it was therapeutic for you. That's what we do on the show.
The men's mental health walk on Sunday.
Oh yeah, we have the men's mental health walk coming up this Sunday.
I missed the last one.
What would that be? The 22nd.
22nd, yeah.
At 9 a.m. at Penn Park,
Yeah.
where the basketball court is. So the men's mental health walk, definitely, brothers, try to come on out
I'm gonna try
this
to be there.
Sunday, coming up the 22nd at 9 a.m. at the park. It's a very beautiful gathering of brothers and brotherhood. So tell your friend and bring yourself out so we can have brotherhood for real, straight up. So we're going to get ready for our brother to get ready to switch over.
So how do I stop this?
Oh, we have to stop it from there.